Hello, my name is Eric Prado, and this is my rhetorical analysis. We believe the best a man can be. This was a commercial produced by Gillette and published on 2019. This commercial tried to give two main messages to their audience. The first one, it tries to break the idea that toxic masculinity is what a man is supposed to be. And the second one is that it tried to make conscience about what are we teaching to the boys of today because they are gonna be the men of tomorrow. Now, this commercial was directed by Kim Gerrig. She is an Australian commercial director and she has produced other famous commercials like This Girl Call or Viva Las Vulva. Now, these two commercials have their own peculiarity, like they are not conventionals, and this is something we can also see on the best a man can be. Now let's enter on the context. We have to go to two important dates. The first one to the 1989, where Gillette published their first commercial with the slogan "The best a man can get." So this commercial on the 2019 it's kind of an upgrade or a new perspective of or their own slogan. Now, the second important date we have to go is to October of 2017. What happened on this date? It started the movement Me Too campaign because there were a lot of cases against the movie producer Harvey Weinstein of sexual harassment. So a lot of women start to use the hashtag Me Too to talk about their experience, and these trends with the time becomes global, and it starts their own campaign. So on 2019, when this commercial of the best a man can be was published, it also had the purpose to support this kind of movement. Now let's talk a little bit more about the appeals the rhetoricals we can find. Like there are three: ethos, logos, and pathos. Ethos and logos are not very present on this commercial. For example, ethos is based on credibility or some kind of authority, and on this commercial there is actually not authority that can support what the commercial is trying to say. This can explain a little bit of why it has such negative reception from the main public. I mean, the men. Now, the second one, we can talk about the logos appeals because there is also no exact logos. I mean, there is not precise statistics. There is no there is not logical. This commercial appeals specific to the pathos or the emotion. So there are many parts where we can see how pathos is used. For example, in the first scene, we can see men watching themselves on the mirror, and we can listen to the sound where they talk about sexual harassment, the Me Too movement, bullying. So this is kind of a metaphor, like where men see themselves on the mirror and ask to themselves, "Is this the best I can be?" Like it's trying to break their own values. Okay. Now the second one we can see that there is a part where there are two boys fighting, and all the parents are watching, and the father says like, "Let them. Boys will be boys." But at some point, one man just wake up and walk towards them and separates them and tell them, "Yes, boys will be boys, but you don't have to do this." Like they try to use some kind of guilt, some kind of sense of guilt to make men feel responsible for all these kinds of behavior and make them understand that they are giving example to the future generations. There is this scene where a father is with his son and they both watch how a group of kids is bullying a small kid. So the parents just take his son and go towards them and and help this little kid. And the boy, his son, is watching this and he's like thinking, when I grow up, I wanna be like my dad, who is protecting this other person from the bullying. Like, stop this deconstructive behavior. Now, what is the problem with what is the conclusion here? Uh, if you want to empathize with your audience, you don't have to make your message look like a critic, and make it look more like advice or retroalimentation. This commercial take more take try to represent a lot of the main problems of society, like what are we known for doing, some kind of stereotypes. But the problem is that they don't do it on the correct way. I mean, their intention is actually good. They are trying to make conscience, but the problem is that the way they transmit the message is only on a pathos way, emotional. They don't have a logos or ethos argument that they can use to reinforce what they are trying to argue. So this can make a really negative reception, and this is what actually happened. Thank you very much.